Well, right now, we're going to begin with something that would have seemed impossible just a few weeks ago. President Trump, while flying aboard Air Force One to the Super Bowl, did something so boldly American that the establishment media is literally hyperventilating. He renamed the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. Now, of course, why would he do this? And why are they so upset about it? Well, here's the amazing part. It's working exactly as intended. While Democrats scream about symbolism, Trump's administration is systematically dismantling decades of bureaucratic waste. His approval rating, 53% and climbing. When's the last time you saw numbers like that? Exactly. Now, Patriots, let me tell you something remarkable. As President Trump renames the Gulf of America and reasserts our national sovereignty, global powers are making their own moves. China and other BRICS nations are stockpiling gold at an unprecedented rate. Why? Because they know it's coming. The U.S. dollar's dominance is being challenged and smart money is moving to physical gold. That's why I trust Noble Gold Investments. They understand that true financial independence means owning physical precious metals. Visit nextnewsgold.com and secure your financial future. Don't wait until it's too late. That's nextnewsgold.com or give them a call. The number on the screen, 877-646-5347. Okay, we got some breaking news that just occurred. My buddy Tom, whenever he calls, I pick up the phone because, well, he doesn't miss a beat. We got this just in. President Trump is planning to pardon former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich. Here's me and Rod just a couple days ago. Yeah, there's me and him at the Drake Hotel. We have the speech up on our channel, so check it out in full. It is an amazing speech, one of the greatest speeches I've ever heard. So check it out. But here is Fox News breaking the story.
He's confirming that President Trump is expected to pardon the former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich. Blagojevich, a former Celebrity Apprentice contestant, served 8 years in prison on charges on his effort to sell Barack Obama's Senate seat after Obama won the 2008 presidential election. President Trump commuted Blago's 14-year sentence. That was back in 2020. So that record will soon be expunged, Sandra.
Yeah, I think we saw he was present at the inauguration, a few of the parties there in Washington. Also, this is happening as there are reports, political reporting, that the president may be considering Blagojevich for ambassador to Serbia. So we'll see where all of this goes. That news that you just reported.
This just in, Mark Vargas 13 minutes ago stating that the Blagojevich family, Rod Blagojevich and his wife Patty, will make a statement to the press outside their home this evening at 9 p.m. Central Time. Dan Scavino, just 60 moments ago, President Trump signs a full and unconditional pardon of former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich.
We have a full and unconditional pardon for former Governor Rod Blagojevich of the state of Illinois.
Good. It's my honor to do it. I've watched him. He was set up by a lot of bad people, some of the same people that I had to deal with. He wasn't quite as successful, but he had somebody that saw what was going on. I didn't know him other than I believe he was on The Apprentice for a little while.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That is huge news. Great news for Rod Blagojevich. I was just with him and Mark Vargas and the whole team there just about 10 days ago. Amazing. And this is going to be like the second greatest political comeback in American history. Especially if he's appointed to be ambassador, second only to Donald J. Trump. And now we've got this. Yes, we're learning that top military brass are planning to defy President Trump's order. Amuse reporting. CNN states that America's top military leaders are meeting to formulate plans to defy orders from President Trump or Defense Secretary Hegseth that they don't agree with, including using active duty troops to quell protests in cities or assist with deportations. So that's what we've got. And remember, a couple of weeks back, we reported on some clandestine meetings that were occurring that revolved around that very topic. So it looks like they are still continuing to move forward. A lot of people are saying this is treason. What do you think? And then we've got this, an Obama judge blocking Donald Trump's administration's freeze on federal funding. This is from Kyle Becker just 3 hours ago. In a sweeping decision, a federal judge has blocked the Trump administration from freezing any federal funding, dealing a significant blow to the White House efforts to withhold funds that are that are suspected of waste, fraud, and abuse of taxpayer money. Now, why would they want to do that? Isn't that like the key buzzword we always hear? Waste, fraud, and abuse. Waste, fraud, and abuse. Waste, fraud, and abuse. Shouldn't we be defeating that? Well, an Obama judge, Chief Judge John J. McConnell Jr. of the U.S. District Court for the District of Rhode Island issued the ruling reinforcing a temporary restraining order previously placed on the administration. The court found that the government had continued to freeze funds despite prior legal orders, prompting the judge to mandate immediate compliance. Well, I'm sure Donald Trump's going to push back on that. Won't be difficult because he has the executive authority. Here we have again Ryan Fournier. CNN's reporting top brass at the Pentagon currently formulating plans to circumvent orders from President Trump. Yes, he says literal treason happening once again. But we have this too. Elon Musk just 24 hours ago. The American people love what they are seeing. Quote tweeting and wokeness. Trump job approval hits an all-time high of 70%. Say he's keeping his word from the campaign. Look at the numbers. You cannot go ahead and you can't dispute that. The mainstream media is in panic mode because they are forced to report it. Inner City Press, 16 hours ago, Trump administration just asked a Southern District of New York Judge Vargas to vacate the Treasury Department temporary restraining order, arguing no court can issue an injunction that directly severs the clear line of supervision Article 2 requires. Think about this for a second. Donald Trump oversees the Treasury, therefore, in the executive branch. So he issues an executive order that we need to find out what's going on there. And then a judge steps in and says, no, you can't do that. Well, it's very clear that Donald Trump has absolute oversight over his own branch. So the judiciary can't just step in and say, no. Oh, but Donald Trump's going to say, no. Buckle up. This is going to be a big fight we're going to watch on. Continuing, the dollar here today only buys 3 cents what it could buy in 1913. That's 3,000% inflation. This is since the inception of the Fed in 1913, inflation has been over 3,000%. So why do I bring that up? Well, it's because we are learning that the Federal Reserve may be in the crosshairs of the Doge, which would be like the holy grail of audits. Yes, we need to audit the Federal Reserve. I mean, shut it down at the end of the day. However, we can start. I'll be happy if we could just start with an audit. And here is the moment on Air Force One. Antonio Sabato Jr., it's official. The proclamation was signed aboard Air Force One above the Gulf of America. There is the moment. I believe we have video of that as well. Let's see if we can track that real quick for the moment that made history. Where is it? Okay, here's the, okay, here, we got the fake news demolished. We got so much in this topic. It's great. Let's see, where is it? I know I've got it here. Where are you? Where are you? There it is. Boom.
Right now. And we're flying right over it right now. So we thought this would be appropriate. Even bigger than the Super Bowl. This is a big thing. And almost everybody now has assented to that.
Attention on board. Ladies and gentlemen, if you could please direct your attention out the right side of the aircraft. Air Force One is currently in international waters, for the first time in history, flying over the recently renamed Gulf of America. Please enjoy the flight, and we are now about to head westbound to Super Bowl 59.
Wow, yeah. He did that well. Good voice. Make America great again, right? That's what we care about. Okay, here we go.
We are living in amazing times, my friends.
So this is a famous pen now, and we're flying right over it right now.
Oh, what a time to be alive. Oh, we've got so much more in this segment. It's only 22 days into the president's administration, the new president 47. CBS poll, President Trump's approval ratings better than it's ever been. He's doing, in the eyes of the public, what he said he would do. Yeah, you know, they were biting their tongue. on Face the Nation when they were forced to report this.
In the eyes of the
Our CBS poll finds that a majority of Americans, 53%, approve of the job he's doing. That's a better approval number than he ever reached during his first term in the White House. Joining us with more is our Executive Director of Elections and Surveys, Anthony Salvanto. Good to see you, Anthony. What's driving this?
I will keep it simple, Margaret. He's doing, in the eyes of the public, what he said he would do in the campaign. There's political value in that. In fact, 70% of people say he's doing what he promised. That's whether they approve of him or not. Now, there's another part of this that continues over from the campaign. There were words that he was described as being tough, being energetic, and he still is today in big majority numbers. So as people take a look in these first few weeks, there's been a lot of activity. They're getting that general sense of governance, and that's being reflected in these early numbers.
So that's perception. What about the actual policies?
Well, let's start with the ones that are popular. And again, these echo a lot of what we saw in the campaign. The idea of deporting those in the country illegally continues to be popular. We saw that in the campaign. Sending troops to the U.S.-Mexico border, again, majority in favor. We'd seen that in the campaign. For his supporters in particular, the focus on ending DEI is popular. We had seen in the campaign a lot of them thought those processes had gone too far.
Our CBS poll finds...
Yeah, CBS News forced to report it. And, oh, goodness, did you hear this? Okay, now, this was 24 hours ago. Lindy Lee... and I believe she worked for the Biden administration. When you hear what she talks about who was really controlling the Biden administration this whole time, it all makes perfect sense. Listen.
Obama and Biden.
Who was running the presidency for the last 4 years? A lot of people say it was Obama's third term.
It was for sure Obama's third term. I don't think that's even a question. I don't think anyone... It definitely was. And that's why you saw Obama fighting for his dear life. Why was he fighting so hard in the fall? Because he was fighting for his fourth term. He was fighting for his own legacy. The relationship between Obama and Biden is most reminiscent of that between LBJ and JFK. JFK had little respect for Lyndon B. Johnson, but he picked him anyway because he wanted to win the South. He wanted to win Texas. But he had very little respect for LBJ's intellect. JFK was surrounded by his Harvard brain trust, and he had immense disdain for LBJ's Texas Hill Country vibe. And that was the same attitude that Obama had towards Biden. Obama thought that Biden would eventually fuck everything up. And that's eventually actually what happened. So, but also he didn't have much faith in Kamala Harris. Before she ascended to the top role, he was vetting people like Mark Kelly and Andy Beshear. Most people, most party chieftains didn't have Kamala Harris as their number one choice. But in the party of DEI, you can't skip a black woman. The optics would have been terrible.
So who was running it? Who are the names?
Steve Ricchetti, his senior advisor, Anita Dunn, Mike Donnellan, Ron Klain, Jeff Zients, Bob Bauer, his personal lawyer, who's actually his personal lawyer, who actually leased a book basically grifting off his relationship with the Bidens. I'm going to get in so much trouble for saying all this. Please give me credit but these are the people who ran our country for the last 4 years.
Oh, yeah, she's going to get in so much trouble, but the American people are so thankful. Here we have more ex-New York Governor Pataki backing Donald Trump's dismantling of far-left USAID. Pataki now leading a Ukraine relief fund, says Trump's move to gut USAID is long overdue. He slammed the agency as a corrupt, crony-run operation that ignored his on-the-ground humanitarian efforts. So there we have out of New York. More news we have from the 22nd day. President Trump's Rapid Response 47. NBC reports President Trump's historic overhaul of the federal government that is proceeding at an unprecedented pace at scale. They can't even keep up. The minute Donald Trump does something, Boom. The media reacts, and he's already on to the next thing. The headlines don't even match the pace that President Trump is moving at. He is blitzing right through the mainstream media and the deep state and the radical leftists. They don't even know how to react. Well, let's hear how they're trying to do it on Meet the Press.
Young tech engineers. We begin with President Trump's historic overhaul of the federal government that is proceeding at an unprecedented pace and scale. The president has tasked Elon Musk, the world's richest man, with carrying out his mission. And now Musk and his team of young tech engineers have inserted themselves into at least 17 federal agencies, according to the New York Times.
17 federal agencies. Bring it on. Let's go, baby. It is happening. Here is President Trump. Now, this was a preview that was posted by Rapid Response, a preview of Trump's Super Bowl interview talking about waste, fraud, and abuse.
You say you trust.
I don't know if it's kickbacks or what's going on, but the people, look, I ran on this, and the people want me to find it. And I've had a great help with Elon Musk, who's been terrific.
Bottom line, you say you trust him.
Trust Elon? Oh, he's not gaining anything. In fact, I wonder how he can devote the time to it. He's so into it. But I told him do that. Then I'm going to tell him very soon, like maybe in 24 hours, to go check the Department of Education. He's going to find the same thing. Then I'm going to go to the military. Let's check the military. We're going to find billions, hundreds of billions of dollars of fraud and abuse. And, you know, the people elected me on that. I don't know if it's...
Yeah, we want him to dig it out, rout it out, and destroy it, man. Trump administration filing an emergency motion to vacate the TRO, which prohibits political appointees from accessing Treasury Department databases. Margot Cleveland posting this thread just 16 hours ago. Main focus is outrageous interference on executive oversight by political appointees, but also highlights the fact that contractors also have access to databases that everyone was screaming would be at risk if Musk had access to. Trump asked for a stay in the TRO. If the TRO isn't vacated or at least modified to seek an appeal, this is the full motion. So we're going to keep track on that. President Trump pushing back. And of course, here is your new Gulf of America. Rob Dew, our friend over at InfoWars, he had this interesting take. Somebody let the disgruntled DEI hires over at Apple know they need to change the name to Gulf of America or they are pushing fake news. Yeah, we do not tolerate fake news here at the Next News Network. Army recruiting, we're finding out now. Under Biden, you remember that ad, the girl with the lesbian mothers, shattering stereotypes and marching for BLM and LGBTQ pride. And we're going to show you a side-by-side of an Army recruiting ad under Trump. Masculine dude working out, staying strong. People are harder to kill. America is back. The contrast couldn't be clearer.
But she tapped into my... Although I had a fairly typical childhood, took ballet, played violin, I also marched for equality. I like to think I've been defending freedom from an early age. When I was 6 years old, one of my moms had an accident that left her paralyzed. Doctors said she might never walk again. But she tapped into my family's pride to get back on her feet, eventually standing at the altar to marry my other mom. With such...
Yeah, that's pretty much all you need to see there. But here is what it looks like now. This is the new America as it should be.
Stronger people are harder to kill.
Welcome to Donald Trump's America. We are back. And here we have this. Benny Johnson, 24 hours ago, Trump's team was warned of severe Iranian assassination threats during his 2024 campaign, including missiles targeting his plane and sniper risks at car windows. Remember we reported on that? Those missing rocket launchers that came across the border? Here is Donald Trump's recent warning to Iran.
Why say you're unhappy to sign it if it's Iran and their proxies who have threatened to retaliate against you and your team by killing you guys for taking out Soleimani?
Well, they haven't done that, and that would be a terrible thing for them to do. Not because of me. If they did that, they would be obliterated. that'll be the end. I've left instructions. If they do it, they get obliterated. There won't be anything left. And they shouldn't be able to do it. And Biden should have said that, but he never did. I don't know why, lack of intelligence, perhaps. But he never said it. If that happens to a leader, or close to a leader, frankly, if you had other people involved also, you would call for total obliteration of a state that did it. That would include Iran. So I'm signing this, and it's a very powerful document, but hopefully we're not going to have to use it.
Why say you're unhappy to sign it if it's Iran?
Oh, we will obliterate them. Here is Rapid Response 47, 23 hours ago. Happy Gulf of America Day. Here is the official proclamation by the President of the United States. So mark your calendars. Every 9th of February is now officially Gulf of America Day by the President of the United States of America, a proclamation. Today, I am honored to recognize February 9th, 2025 as the first ever Gulf of America Day. Change your calendars. Update everything. Oh, did you see this? You know, we've got this all this talk of, you know, Trump's actions, and we have the Doge taking action with Elon Musk. Well, this just happened 5 hours ago. Steve Gruber posting on the left, they're preaching violence. Here's Reverend Dr. Steve Caudle of the Greater Second Missionary Baptist Church in Chattanooga, Tennessee, calling for violence in response to Elon and Doge cutting government waste. You guys are good. You guys just listen.
Social Security check. And in this nation, I'm worried that we are on the verge of bloodshed. This is an attempt to take us back to a day that we do not want to go, and we will not go. Therefore, there will be conflict. I pray that the peace of God will win out and overcome the madness that is attempting to take over this nation. And I will say to you, beloved, no one likes violence, but sometimes violence is necessary. When Elon Musk forces his way into the United States Treasury and threatens to steal your personal information and your Social Security check, there is the possibility of violence. Sometimes the devil will act so ugly that you have no other choice but to get violent and fight.
Wow.
Well, someone might say, now, Reverend, you shouldn't be talking about violence. This isn't the Christian thing to do. Well, I will say, why not talk this way? Because Jesus did. Jesus said in this key verse, didn't he? The kingdom of heaven suffers what? Violence. And the who? The violent take it by force. The kingdom of God is a war zone. It is a battlefield. You did know this, right? And in this nation, I'm worried that
Wait a second. I think he's misinterpreting that scripture. The kingdom of heaven suffers violence, okay, and the violent take it by force. I don't think the scripture is advocating for that type of action. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but now we've got this from Pete Hegseth issuing a memo on prioritizing military excellence and readiness on day 22 of this great administration. He just effectively banned people suffering from gender dysphoria from joining the military and stopped all taxpayer-funded transition expenses. So here is the official order from Pete Hegseth that was issued on February 7th, published today. Goodbye, DEI. No more will we be spending our money. Oh, and then we have this. An unhinged liberal's got a meltdown over Democrats not arresting Musk, and comments under her video suggesting that someone should assassinate Elon Musk. Nice haircut, by the way.
Whatever, So when are people who actually have the power to do something actually fucking do something? When? There's only so much that me, myself, as an individual citizen can do, write call to representatives, speak up, do whatever. I know that there's stuff that I can do, but it's minuscule. I can't fucking go to the DC and arrest Musk or anything. I don't have the ability to do that. But when the fuck are people who are in power. When the fuck who are people who are actually in fucking power do something about this? When are they gonna fucking do something?
Oh my goodness. Okay, she's just dropping F-bombs. She's just out of control. I apologize for that. Total unhinged liberal, but it's what we expect. Okay, and then we have this from the disrespected trucker who reports the Democrat Party got just too comfortable. They pushed a lot of people away from their party. Good riddance to the Democrat Party. Chris Cuomo asked why I put a target on my head. Here is Lindy Lee yet again. Wow, she is really on fire. Let's listen.
What are you doing? Talking about what happened in the campaign and absolutely putting a target on your head, let alone your back. Why would you do this?
If we don't confront reality, if we don't address these very serious issues, we're going to keep losing. And I really like what you've said, earlier in the segment. If we don't recognize that America is shifting rightward, we are going to keep losing. If we don't have a financial accountability and some sort of very serious accounting of how exactly we spent $1 billion in 2 to 3 months, how are donors and even everyday Americans who gave their $10 and $25 ever going to trust the Democratic Party again?
Okay, so before we continue, as you can hear, she is clearly, the only reason she's doing this is to save her own party. She's trying to be like the voice in the wilderness screaming, listen to me, this is how we fix our party. But she's all in the process, she's exposing everything. And who's really going to listen? I don't know.
We need a serious postmortem to show that we're learning the lessons, that we are exposing everything that went wrong, and that we are going to do better in the future. We can't just throw everything under the rug and assume that daddy's going to fill the piggy bank again.
What do you think of these allegations of what Oprah, I mean, either they paid the production company or they didn't. I've never heard of people getting paid for endorsements. Paid to perform, maybe, but usually they give it. But do you believe it?
It's not a matter of believing, it's literally in the report. And she can deny it however much she wants to, but it says Harper Productions on the FEC report. I really don't know how you get around that. It's her company, and she may not have gotten paid personally as a person, but it paid her company. So I think this is a matter of semantics. She got paid. And it's just, if my donors had known beforehand that the money would be dispersed this way, I do not think they would have given. It's a sacred trust. These people, a lot of my donors have worked hard all their lives. And again, these are everyday Americans around the country. I didn't just deal with big donors. I also fundraised from grassroots donors who gave $25, as I mentioned. I did something called Geeks and Nerds for Harris. People are giving like $10 to $15. These are people, some people are living paycheck to paycheck. So it's a sacred trust for them to give money to a campaign. It is our utmost responsibility to use that money in a responsible manner and to not treat it as OPM, which is other people's money.
Yeah, well, I wonder how many of those celebrities actually got paychecks. Here we have CNN's Henry Enton blown away by Trump's popularity surge. This is on CNN. Oh, goodness, I love it so much. Watching these mainstream media outlets forced to report all these numbers. Oh, God, we are living in amazing times, my friends. I can only imagine that they're just in the producers' rooms of these outlets. They are just pulling their hair out. We pushed a false narrative for so long. How can these numbers be positive?
The Pew poll, all of these respective CBS News out with a new poll showing that Americans seem to be liking what they're seeing. But it's a mixed bag.
Yeah, I mean, look, but it's not just CBS. I like to take an average of the polls. And holy smokes, I mean, look at what the difference is between now versus 8 years ago during the first Trump term, right? This is Trump's net approval rating on February 10th. You go back to 2017, Trump was already underwater at -5 points on the net approval rating. That's approval minus disapproval. What a difference 8 years makes. He's on the positive side of the ledger at +4 points. And again, it's not just the CBS News poll. We're talking about the Gallup poll. We're talking about the Ipsos poll. We are talking about the Pew poll. All of these respective pollsters have Trump in a better position now than they did 8 years ago. The bottom line is Americans are far more likely to say they like what they're seeing now versus what they felt during Trump's first term.
Okay, so how
Wait, you got more? You got more for us? Keep going. Let's hear.
rare is this? You're going to show us sort of where we're at now and how rare it is that this number changes.
I want you to
how rare it is.
Take a look at this plus sign, right? Compare that to the
he said plus size. Was he referring to the co-host there?
Negative sign. Being on the plus size of the ledger, right? In positive net approval territory. A positive net approval rating for Donald Trump. Again, whoa, 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 whoa. Entire first term, just 11 days, Donald Trump had a net positive approval rating. Compare that to the second term, just so far, every single day of Trump's second term so far, he has been on the positive side of the ledger. 21 days, all 3 weeks. That's already 10 more days than he was in his entire first term. So again, this is just another sign that Americans are far more likely to like what they're seeing in his second term than they were during his first term.
He also won the popular vote in his second term, so it stands to reason that there would be more people that would approve of some of what he's doing. Is there?
I can't stop. All I hear is plus size. Oh man!
Something that Americans say about why it is that they like him now more than they did back in the first term?
You know, I think one of the things that's so important for politicians is for folks to believe what they're saying and that they're keeping their campaign promises.
Okay, yes, Donald Trump's doing just that. And speaking of demolishing the media, oh, dude, President Trump took just literally buried Huffington Post on Air Force One. Listen to this. It's so beautiful.
I haven't years. I thought the Vice President suggested that if the Supreme Court rules in a way that you don't like, they can just enforce it by themselves. Do you agree with that? I don't know even what you're talking about. Neither do you. Who are you with? Up close. Who? Up close. Oh, no wonder. I thought they died. Are they still around? I haven't read them in years. I thought they died. All right, go ahead. Who else? Vice President.
I thought HuffPost died. Yeah, pretty much. Here's Speaker Mike Johnson just 7 hours ago. President Trump is working around the clock for the people and doing exactly what he said he would do. Elon Musk is performing a vital public service with the Doge.
The president has a very...
Anything you would voice as concerns, separation of powers, what's going on in the executive branch?
Look, I'm a lifelong advocate and guardian of Article 1. There's a reason that the legislative branch is listed first in the Constitution. The founders intended for us to be the ones that, drive the agenda. But the executive branch, the president has a very important role. The Dean is not wrong. President Trump has done more than any president in our memory, probably in the modern era, maybe in the whole history of the country, right out of the gates. Why? Because he knows exactly what he wants to do, what he needs to do, and what the American people gave him a mandate to do. So I'm not uncomfortable with the pace of this. He's fulfilling all of our campaign promises.
What about the substance of it?
Well, the substance is what the American people demand and deserve. This idea, all the controversy about Elon Musk helping us out, they're going through to find efficiencies. There has been massive fraud, waste, and abuse of the American taxpayers' dollars, and this is the best way to do it. You bring in effectively an outside auditor, and that's what Elon and the team are doing. And what they are uncovering is incredible abuses of the public fisc. And so we applaud that. We're supporting it, and we're going to back it up with legislative action to make sure we codify these changes so that it's more lasting than just one administration.
Oh, yeah, bring it on. And here is Rapid Response posting this 24 hours ago. Deranged Chris Murphy out of Connecticut thinks cutting off taxpayer funding for sex changes in Guatemala is the most serious constitutional crisis the country has faced since Watergate. Yes, this is the narrative that they're pushing now.
This is the most serious. Listen, I think this is the most serious constitutional crisis the country has faced, certainly since Watergate. The president is attempting to seize control of power and for corrupt purposes. The president wants to be able to decide how and where money is spent so that he can reward his political friends. He can punish his political enemies. That is the evisceration of democracy. Listen, I think this is the most serious.
Actually, it's called oversight of the executive branch. And here we have this from George Beasy. The French President Emmanuel Macron is now begging President Trump not to impose tariffs on European nations. Well, you might just get them.
What is the concern of President Trump? And you know that we have a very good relation and we speak very regularly. He says, I'm not happy with the situation with Europe because I have a trade deficit. When you look at the situation, my first question to the US, is the European Union your first problem? No, I don't think so. Your first problem is China. So you should focus on the first problem. Second, Europe is an ally for you. If you want Europe to be engaged on this more investment on security and defense, if you want Europe to develop, which is, I think, the interest of the US, you should not hurt the European economies by threatening it with tariffs. Third, the integration of the value chain between US and Europe is super high. What does it mean? It means if you put tariffs on a lot of sectors, it will increase the costs and create inflation in the US. Is it what your people want? I'm not so sure. Fourth,
keep Brian. Get ready because they're coming. Here is the New York Times. They think that these are negative headlines for us on their front page. Stephen Chung of the administration says, but the joke's on them. We want these headlines because this is exactly what Americans voted for, to ensure taxpayer dollars are spent wisely and that the government works for the people. Yeah, look at this headline right here. Can you see it? Young enforcers carry out blitz on bureaucracy. And you can see the image of the U.S. Agency for International Development, or USAID, and their letters being removed from the building front and the logo on the glass covered up. Yeah, that's what America wants. Cut the bureaucracy. We've also got this. This is 24 hours ago. Benny Johnson reports based ex-NFL cornerback Adam Jones wore a MAGA hat to the Sports Illustrated red carpet. Let's take a look.
And I think that's going to be very excited. Yeah? I'm excited that he's the president, too.
What do you like about him?
Everything but like I'll just tell him 95.9% things that he's saying I agree with. The only thing I don't agree with is the women rights thing, and I think that's going to be worked out in the coming future.
How do you think of he's done in the early days of his office?
Doing good. Hell yeah. You ain't happy? We about to tax everybody.
Trump was so bored at the halftime show for the Super Bowl that he decided to get to work by ordering the Treasury, to hear about this, to stop producing pennies. We have a once-in-a-generation president on our hands, my friends. George Beasy tweeting that. Now, if you remember, we reported that it costs 3 cents to produce 1 penny, and Donald Trump, he's like, nah, we're done with that. Far too long. The United States has minted pennies, which are literally costing us more than 2 cents. This is so wasteful. I've instructed my Secretary of the U.S. Treasury to stop producing new pennies. Let's rip the waste out of our great nation's budget, even if it's 1 penny at a time. Oh, yes. Oh, and people are celebrating Defiant L's. This young lady says, I'm no longer the stupid brainwashed liberal I used to be when I was 19. Yes, America is waking up. The youth is waking up.
I don't care. It's happening. I'm crashing out. I'm crashing out. I'm done, okay? I blew up on this godforsaken clock app when I was like 19 or 20 years old, okay, back then. Keep in mind, it has been 4 to 5 years and life has hit me like a fucking truck, okay? I'm no longer the stupid brainwashed liberal that I used to be when I was 19. And I am being hated on so much for simply changing sides. And I'm done. I'm so tired of my old fan base. I don't give a fuck about your identity politics. I voted for Trump and I hate fat people.
Whoa, okay. Well, apparently she's a TikToker and she is definitely seen the light. And then we have this, Julie Kelly, Valley Girl Weissman, who just lost his security clearance, admits that the FBI agents were taken off real crimes to investigate J6 protesters and praises D.C. judges for thwarting President Trump's executive orders. Yeah, Weissman, among others, having their security clearance revoked.
That it was.
Why isn't Chris Wray all over Fox News saying, I led the department, no one freelanced, it went out on a case, I made them do it. I made the call that these were crimes worthy of investigating. And I'm not saying he belongs on this show, but why isn't he all over television defending his workforce?
Well, that's a great question. And I think, agree that he should not have stepped down. That it was a sign of that the Justice Department doesn't have and the FBI doesn't have this sort of apolitical history per the, Congress has a 10-year term. That's supposed to mean that it's regardless of sort of president. And by stepping down, he was really saying that's really on paper only, and each president should just have a new person. President Trump is going to hold him accountable. All right. That's why he stepped down. But of course, he cannot run and hide, even if he does step down. We've got some more news in this glorious 22nd day of President Trump's administration. Let's continue to break it all down for you. What else have we got here? This is... we've got... Okay, here we have... Man, there's so much. It's like, it just keeps like refreshing. I apologize. Okay, why does it stop? Come on. I want to show you this clip. And go. Oh, what the heck? Come on. Come on. All right, we're almost there. Almost there. Goodness. Okay, hang on. Hopefully it doesn't reset itself again. And almost. God, it keeps resetting itself. I'm not sure why it's doing that. I apologize, but let's see if we can. There. I don't know. Okay, well, we've got so much happening in the country right now, and I am just here for it. I want to get that clip for you because it is awesome. Let me just pull this thing up again in another way. Not sure why it's not loading correctly.
It leaves an impression.
That's crazy.
Looks like here we have a clip.
Yeah, they didn't even spell Trump.
They can't even spell Trump correctly when they try to deface property in Washington, D.C. Here is Scott Jennings 24 hours ago. Trump at 53% approval in CBS poll because he's getting on the right side of virtually every issue.
Approval rating. Trump is like the 80-20 president. He gets on the right side of all these 80-20 issues. Democrats knee-jerk and take the 20. And then what happens? Today, CBS News poll this morning, Donald Trump sitting at a 53% approval rating, the highest he's ever recorded in that survey. Why? Because Democrats are taking the wrong side of all of these obvious issues, number one. And number two, they're giving him an enormous amount of latitude to move fast and break things, which I heard used in a pejorative fashion. But when you're talking about the government, that's what people want.
Well, and Democrats
keep Trump to do. Trump is like the 80-20 president. He gets on the right side of all these 80-20.
Okay, I think I got the clip for you now. Sorry. It's, let me just see if I can pull it here. This is Elon Musk posting this just 13 hours ago. It should show up now at the top. Here we are.
Buyers at midnight on Monday this offer for 8 months of paid vacation at the end of this term of their term. Will it go to layoffs if people refuse to come back to the office? What comes next?
Well, of course, if people refuse to come back to the office, they're going to be laid off. I mean, why would federal taxpayers
be subsidizing Netflix watching at home for so-called federal workers. In other words, how can you call yourself a federal worker if you never show up at the office? We have these giant cavernous office buildings in Washington, D.C., carved out of marble, stone, and granite in the Greek classical style, some of the most gorgeous buildings on earth. The taxpayers fund it, they pay for it, they upkeep, they provide electricity to, and no one's showing up. And what are they doing at home? Watching their favorite streaming shows? It's crazy. Of course they have to get back into the office because they work for everyone watching me today.
Now, if you recall, what he's talking about is specifically when President Trump said you guys can just send a reply to our email. You can just enter the word resign in the subject line, and you can get a golden parachute. 8 months, severance pay, you're good to go. Have a nice life. Last checked, I believe there was 50,000 government employees that had accepted that offer, and they're going to continue to make good on that offer. So much happening in America, and I'm just here for every single second. I want to make sure I got everything here because there was a few clips here that just didn't want to load correctly. We're doing the best we can. I think we got everything here. Okay, let's rock and roll, America, because this is only day 22 of Donald Trump's return to power. President Trump has done more than just rename a body of water. He sent a clear message to the world that America First isn't just a slogan, it's a reality. His approval ratings are soaring because Americans understand what he's doing. He's dismantling the bureaucratic state piece by piece, while the media obsesses over symbolism. They are missing the point entirely, aren't they? And here's the question they won't ask. If a simple name change can trigger this level of meltdown from the establishment, what does that tell you about their real agenda? Think about it. And let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to check out our exclusive MAGAvengers collection at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com because true patriots wear their values proudly.